Good evening, everyone. How are you? Happy Tuesday, the day after Tim's birthday. So now we know Thursday in a different way. Last month, me and my wife, Marcia, we went to Miami, but we decided to do a back and forth, not staying. So you guys know that if you're not too fast enough, you can do it in 3 hours and a half, plus 2, which is 7 hours, plus 4 hours down in Miami, which is 11 hours. So when we came back, we were kind of tired. And normally we would take the 5220. It's not an interstate, but it's the road. And it's pitch dark most of the time. So when we got to an intersection of the B line, there was an accident that I just realized when I came real close, but real close. And I passed by and it seemed that it just happened. I couldn't see if there was any, injured person or some. What I saw is that when I got to the B line, somebody stopped on one side, and me and Marcia start arguing. So should we call 911? Oh, somebody must call it already. Should we stop? Oh, somebody stopped. Maybe they're giving assistance. And we got uncomfortable with that situation because we should do something. But we was just arguing. Well, long story short, we call 911. And hopefully nothing worse happened to them because the position that they were at the intersection, that was really dangerous because somebody could come in speed and just hit them. So nothing happens, thank God. But why am I telling you this story? Who are we in any story that happens to us? And which story is that one? Can you guys guess? The Good Samaritan. So who are we in the story of the Good Samaritan? And of course, if it works, it would be so cool. But it didn't. So let me close. Open it again. Which role we play in the Samaritan? You guys know pretty much how it goes. A man was going from one city to the other, got robbed, got beat, left to that, took the clothes, to the burglars took everything from him. So a priest passed by, a Levite passed by, and they didn't stop. A Samaritan stopped and helped the man. So who are we in this story? We normally think that this is a story to let us be better and be the Good Samaritan. And guess what? Most of the time we are not. Most of the time we are the men who got beaten. And the Good Samaritan are the good spirits, the evolved spirits, the high spirits, or somebody that has compassion in a higher standard and stop to help us. So we have the men, we have the priest, we have the Levite, we have the Samaritan. We have 4 roles to play in this story. In each story, like I just told you, it's just like this. The men was the ones that were inside the car. We could play the role of Good Samaritans. Maybe stop in the middle of nowhere, not sure if we got to get hit by another car, but we didn't do it. We kept moving. But all of a sudden, we just called to ask for help. It took a while, let me tell you. I thought that when you call 911, it would be like this. It was not. But it worked. So who were we? Probably in the beginning, the priest or the Levite. And in the end, we just try to be the Samaritan. Maybe taking the good out of the equation, the adjective. But we try to help in a way. How many times in our story, in our life story, we try to do something good, but all of circumstances and stuff, we just did enough. And when we do enough, It's kind of hard to take that because we want to be more, right? We want to get, the kind of sense that we saved the day. But sometimes it's really hard. So most of the time, the role that we play is the role of the man. This guy losing control, losing balance and everything. Jesus situated the needy within his narrative as a simple man. He just said a man. He does not identify race, color, social position, or views. Can be anybody. Can be anyone. A man needs assistance. He represents the suffering humanity, the half-dead of the soul on the roads of the world. Those who have fallen to the blows of incomprehension. The disoriented that atheism pushed into the mists of feeling. The mutilated of the spirit, which slender tramped over in the midst of work. Those tired of loneliness. The poison of despair. The victims of discouragement. The wounded of anguish. Those forgotten in the shadows of ignorance. And by ignorance is not what you learn in school, but what you should know, but you prefer not to. You ignore things to keep on going in your path as the Levite or as the priest, instead of stopping and doing something. We do have this kind of stories every single day in our lives. And we do have the choice every single day in our lives to choose which role are we going to play. And sometimes it's really hard because Jesus didn't condemn, in the end, the Levite and the priest. He just said that they didn't have the right point of view, the right thought, the right drive. But that's humanity. And that's us trying to learn. They are about me, myself, and I, right? It's just me, and maybe later I'm going to think about somebody else. Jesus speaks of the men evidently qualified for the provision of service, who moved away as quickly as possible, only thinking about their convenience. I'm late. I'm going to get late to this or that appointment. I'm going to lose money if I stop right here. Something can happen. And who's this guy? I don't know him. Why should I help? Well, what good are culture and spiritual preparation if they abandon a brother in need? So it's just like when you see doctors nowadays succumb by, don't want to go too political on that, but the healthcare. And instead of helping the patient, they just recite the doctrine of the healthcare, which is totally against the patient. It's not to heal, it's just to give you something to get out of the hospital, go back home and deal with your problem yourself. So we have so many Levites and priests around, right? Many times faced with accidents and victims of the body or soul, we make excuses in order to withhold the natural tributes of fraternity. We used to say to ourselves, who am I to do this? Who do I think I am? I don't have power to do that. I suck. I'm a bundle of imperfections. I wish I could. Well, have you ever tried to see if you can? I wish I could. It's always putting the word but. I can do it, but. So it's conditional. And what we're talking here is unconditional. Feeling and trying to do something for our others. Then comes the Samaritan. Doesn't he have the same worries as the other ones? Probably he did. His attitude sums up a master's degree in pedagogy on understanding and kindness. Maybe he was running out of time. He could go to to meet a loved one. And maybe if he doesn't show up, end a relation. As it was the end of the day, it would be normal to avoid stopping so as not to expose yourself on the way at night. So he could be robbed by the same burglars that robbed this guy. But against all odds, he stopped and helped. Against all odds, we do a lot of... I used to say that my mentor, my bodyguard, my angel, gave up on me a long time ago because I did so much wrong. They just say, you know what, you reach your quote, you're by yourself. But of course not. He's still right there and helping all the time. And we're still doing our human thingies, which is not the best way of doing things. So if they are willing to help, why shouldn't we? In the way that we can, of course. Who's my neighbor? Who's the person right in front of me? We tend to think that this is our mother, our father, our son, an intimate friend, a best friend. But it's normally the person that is closer to you, but you tend to not see. The child who passes by. The boss who demands work from you. The subordinate who obeys you. The partner of ideal. The beggar who asks you from a distance. The person who imposes a problem on you. The one who slanders you. The one who gives you joy. The creature that induces you to temptation. All of them are the men. And even if they're not asking for help straight, their behavior is kind of a asking for help declaration or statement. So normally they will not tell you, especially if there's somebody that is against you, that they need help because they don't like you. But they will try to externalize all the pain that they're suffering through misdoings. So it's easy to condemn, but it's healthier to understand that this kind of person is sick. But it's not something that isn't on the body, it's on the soul. And how do you treat a sick person? You have to all the time go some steps back and try to understand which role can you play in that particular story. Oh, by the way, all these teachings are coming from the book, The Gospel According to Emmanuel. This is the Gospel according to Luke. And unfortunately, it doesn't have a translation so far in English, but if you have time enough, I'll recommend you to download this PDF and just go Google Translator on it because it's amazing. It's amazing the way they compile all the information and they create a storyline that's so like, I never saw this thing through this point of view. It's amazing. Sometimes a man has a familiar name that sounds sweet to our ears. Sometimes he's categorized as an opponent who does not approve your way of being. It can be both. It can be either or. So sometimes you are looking for, I don't know, a friend, but the one that needs help. I have a 11-year-old, right, Marcia? Johanna is 11? 11-year-old niece that lives in Germany. And right now she's in the kind of time that she doesn't like school whatsoever because she changed from one school to the other. And the girls are mean as they can be when they're 11. So she doesn't like to go to school. And everything she blames the school instead of blaming the child. And I'm trying to talk to her because we do gospel every Wednesday to see these kids through another lenses. Like if they are against you, it's because they fear you, because you're different. And whoever is different imposes like a threat to the mini society that you develop with your friends. And if you don't obey, you don't abide to my rules, that means there's something wrong in the kingdom of Norway, right? So it's really something. If you're different, don't change just because somebody wants you to change. If you're different, just explain why you're acting like this. If they don't like it, so yeah, too bad, so sad.
Just this quote there, sometimes he is categorized as an opponent who does not approve of your way of being. That was exactly this situation between the Samaritan and the Jew, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Enemies.
And all of a sudden, the all-powerful one passed by without helping. And he was the one that had the knowledge, the power, the money, everything to help. And he's just like, you're nothing. You're just lying down there. And the one that is, maybe because he was so used to, right? The Samaritan was so used to be renegade as a subspecies per se. They know the pain. They relate to the pain of being nobody. And it's really something, great point, Baldo. Thank you.
Forgive your enemies.
Yeah. But he's always the inspector of life, who surveys the soul's position in the affairs of eternal life. So this man, it's always the one that brings you the question, what are you doing to your immortal soul? What are you doing as a spirit? What are you doing to progress? You're just living? Great, you're going to have multiple lives. But just FYI, you can progress in this one. So try to do something right now. We used to say here that vision without attitude equals illusion. So we have a lot of people that's living illusions instead of trying to do something. And this story talks about charity. And Jesus was the first one to talk about charity in the storybooks. All the other religions or the civilizations, there's no quote about charity the way that Jesus brought to earth and quote a lot in parables and teachings. The parable exalts the sublime mission of charity forever. It is the path opened by Jesus to union and peace among creatures, not before him. It was opened by him, not before him. The papyrus of the ancient Egypt do not report any similar feeling capable of uniting strange hearts to each other. So every sentence here is just related to charity by itself. They talk about helping, but helping who? Themselves, among enemies. So it's not charity per se, because it's not uniting hearts to each other. It's uniting minds to an objective. The Imperial Rome documentaries do not show any sign of human warmth. The pages of ancient Greece, with their heights of philosophical culture, do not speak of love for one's neighbor, unaccompanied by inquiries. It's always the if. Yes, I'm going to do this if. I love you if. That's always a string attached. Archives of many other people that were on earth before Jesus do not reveal any sign of immediate help to needy people that are not known. We help people that we know, not people that we don't. And the Samaritan helped somebody that was there, and he didn't know who he was whatsoever. He just stopped out of heart, out of charity, out of feelings that were not common by that time. Let me say that. Although Jesus was around, he could not, propagate his aura all over the world. Yeah, he could, but not incarnated. We know that he could as Christ, a spirit, high elevation. He could, but not when he was incarnated. So this guy bought so much on this parable, or so much on the help that was over their time, over what they think about helping each other. And this is charity. And that's why Spiritans say, without charity, there's no salvation. While others say without the church, there's no salvation. Outside the church. Outside charity, there's no salvation. Because if you don't have this feeling inside of you, you will never gonna progress. You're never gonna help. You're never gonna look to the side and help somebody that is in need. Because I don't know him. I don't know her. I don't know this kid. How many times? And now we're seeing around Orlando a lot more beggars, right? Unfortunately, it's not something that we like to see, but that's the situation. How many times you think twice, 3, 4 times before giving something? Is he trying to get food or booze? Does it really matter? So that's the if right there. I'm going to give the money to him if he's going to do what he say on the sign that he's holding. I'm hungry, so I'm going to give you food. And sometimes we hear from people from the center here, oh, I offered to buy food. And he said, no, I want money. It's hard. See, it is hard because we are so locked. We build a wall around our hearts. And it's hard to break those bricks. But we try. And many times that we can. So if you give something to somebody, don't ask what they're going to do with that. That's their problem. Yours is to give. Yours is like the decision, should I give or should I not? Do this and you will live. When the doctor of the law asked the master, because this always starts with the doctor of the law asking him how he gained the reign of heaven. So Jesus responded with a question in the end, but before he tells the parable. And in the end, he asked a question. In your opinion, who was the good man in this circumstance? The answer was obvious. The one that uses mercy and understanding with me, replies the doctor. And then Jesus just say something that is more profound. So go ahead and do the same. And he addresses the man in full force of his vital action and declares, do this and you will live. Was he talking about physical life? No. Live has a much broader connotation than just the movement of the body, much less the display of conventional titles. The life that Jesus talks about was the life of the highest spheres and other fields of superior attainment with sublime spirituality. So do this, and you will start waking yourself as a spirit. Help the others, and you will do something for yourself as a spirit. Not for the body that, if you're lucky, in 100 years will decay. And you come back as a spirit as you were. You're not going to do anything with your body. You have to take care of that because it was a gift given to you. But besides that, in the spiritual world, nothing. So let's try to use whatever comes out of our mouth, whatever action that we can have, why we have life on us, to help as much as we can. Can we help all the time? No. If you can, I'm sorry, I'm answering for you, but I pretty much know that it's really hard because our attention is to some other subjects. But when you have attention to one subject and you know that you can help, why not? Are you going to be a good Samaritan? It depends on how you help. It depends on what goes inside your heart. Sorry, I'm going to use you again, my friend. You guys heard that so many times, but it's still on my heart. Valdo was buying lunch at McDonald's, right? And he saw a homeless. And he bought a lunch for him. But instead of giving the lunch and saying, take it, eat it, and have a happy life. Of course, I'm not going to say that. He stopped the car, he sat with him, and he ate with him. What was more important? Of course, he needs the meal. And we know that McDonald's doesn't have this kind of a, healthy meal. But the meal for the soul was the more important. Because somebody that is in that position doesn't think about himself as a human being anymore. And when you sit with somebody like this, you give him the benefit of humanity, of being, again, taken as a human being. For the 20 minutes that they stay together, 30, I don't know how much it was, but that's the thing. You're only going to do that if you feel in your heart. If you don't, you can stop, you can sit, but it's fake. And you know that it is. You're doing for thinking about good about yourself. That's not the way it works. The same evangelical scene is repeated daily in many sectors. A large number of apprentices integrated with the knowledge of their duty ask for guidance from the divine messengers as to the best way to act on earth. So it's not just here on earth that happens. On a spiritual plan, that happens too. And when they come here, they ask for guidance. How should I behave? What should I do? And the answer is not different from what we got here. The answer, however, remains in themselves, in their hearts that fear responsibility, decision, and rough service. So if you come here and you decide, me and my wife, we used to say that we were so eager to finish all the wrongdoings from other lives that we got to every single line possible. I'm not gonna be rich. I'm not gonna be this, that, and that. And then probably somebody say, "Hey, come here. Let's have a chat." Maybe you want to quit. You want to erase half of the list that you did because probably not gonna, be enough when you go down there and forget everything about your eternal life. So let's try slowly but surely. And let me give you a little problem for you to deal with and see how you go. And maybe you can get something else. Just maybe. But don't try to do, a hole-in-one because that's not going to happen. You don't have the will, or not the will we have, but you don't have the skills once you incarnate. You see on a lot of books, when spirits are about to incarnate, they start doubting about what they decide in the spiritual realm. Because they start feeling the dense energies from planet Earth. And then start forgetting who they were. So, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to be born in the house of the father that killed me in the last incarnation? How am I going to deal with that? So all this kind of stuff start. But the answer is in ourselves. We know the answer. We know how to do it. Sometimes we just don't do it. And then, again, Mr. Zig Ziglar, which is on a higher level as well. Your attitude, not our aptitude. will determine your attitude. Without attitude, you never know what's going to happen. If you stay and look at it, it's going to be if, or what if, or but, all of our lives, and we're not going to live. So do this, and you will live. People usually use this parable as an example of generosity and noble soul. It is also worth understanding that the point of view of the fallen companion in relation to human expectations when he's in misfortune. So it's not just the generosity of who is helping, but when you are the fallen one, what is your point of view? What you expect from the others? How did you going to see the priest and the Levite passing by without helping? Because they should help. How are you going to see them? Are you going to condemn them? Are you going to understand? It's hard, right? Because you are feeling pain. And if you're feeling pain, you want somebody to help you, not to pass by you as you were nobody. How many times faced by unfortunate people do we make excuses for ourselves following the most comfortable path? If you invert the questions, makes it easy to understand. How did you going to see the priest and the Levite? Because how many times you act as the priest and the Levite? But for you or for us, we can have excuses. When we are the fallen ones and somebody does the same, there's no excuse. So it has to have a balance. It has to be not equal, because hopefully this will not happen in the future, but it has to see something different. If you give a lot, even if you give a lot, it's hard to expect a lot from somebody, because everybody has one little thing called free will. And now's the time that I have a good information and a bad information for you guys. Which one you prefer the first? The bad. The bad is we are not good people. We are not good souls. We are in a planet that is for trials and atonements. We didn't do good. Up to now, we didn't do good. The good new is that we are here to progress. And God gave us this opportunity. So why not taking it? Why live one more life doing the same? I don't know if this quote is from Albert Einstein, but they refer to him all the time. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and trying to get a different outcome. It's just like that. But we forget that so many times because we repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. I repeat it so much. I do it so much. Maybe that's why I'm here talking about this, because it's a reminder for myself that everything that I'm saying, I'm most like the Levite and the priest. And when I'm the man, I expect everything that comes to me. So it's this little moments that you can reflect about that and maybe try to get better. Let us also try to understand the position of the unfortunate brother, and let us understand that Jesus' lessons is that he awaits us as we are in order to serve. He doesn't want us to get better. Oh, when I get $1 million, I'm going to have a baby. Yeah, tomorrow your wife is pregnant. You know, that's a lot of things that you put so many goals up in front. Jesus awaits us to do something as we are. He's not going to wait for us to change, to demand something. No, You can do something as you are. So do it.
What did you do to my sign?
What you did to my
I
sign?
wrote the same,
I wrote the same
but different words.
with different words.
Thanks, love.
First she stopped. Then instead of giving coins, she gave something much more important for her, which is a different point of view. This video invites us to change our point of view about simple things in life. You're not gonna feel for your brother if you don't understand where he comes from. The blind guy put, "I'm blind, help me." I'm not blind. That doesn't resonate to me. She just understood and she put, "It is a beautiful day." Yes, I'm seeing the day. It is beautiful, but I can see it. Now I feel your pain. Now I feel your pain. Because it was said, the same thing was said in a different way. This is an invitation for us to change. Change our point of view, change the way that we do some things, and maybe, just maybe, we can change ourselves and better whoever is around you. Normally, we do quotes from spiritists or spirits discarnated, but I love this quote from Martin Luther King, which is discarnating is a high spirit. I believe so. The first question which the priest and the Levite asked was, "If I stop to help this man, what would happen to me? What's there for me?" But the Good Samaritan reversed the question. "If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him?" See, he didn't reverse and say, "What will happen to me?" Because then you are acting in your own interest, not in somebody else's. But what will happen to this poor guy if I don't help him? Who's going to help him? Which ties me back to the first story that I told you from me and my wife coming back from Miami. That was hit us in the middle of the beeline, say, let's call 911. Because even if everybody call 911, we're going to be one more. It doesn't hurt. If you see something and you can do something, go ahead and do it. Thank you.